So when you watched the tape of the game on Sunday, the 5:25, was there anything that struck you like yesterday or on Monday when you were looking at the tape that surprised you that you didn't realize until you watched tape?
No, I think we all knew what happened on the field.
There he is, Kevin, all grown up.
Man.
No more aftershave for him.
He's giving it to them. He's giving it to the Ravens a little. There must be something he doesn't like about them.
Well, I don't think he likes the fact that Wink Martindale made the comment last week, too early to talk about a gold jacket, and Burrow recognizes I'm only in my second season. But come on, it's not like he's playing poorly.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
He's picked up the NFL as fast as any quarterback has in recent years, and he's fought back from the torn ACL, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's been awesome.
He has.
So now we're playing a game of what's more likely. So what's more likely? Will he be grinning after beating the Chiefs, or will Kansas City chew up and spit out another quarterback like they did this past weekend with Big Ben?
All right. Well, we're not saying beating. We're saying lighting up the Chiefs, right? Right? So
yeah, lighting them up.
Yes. If you're going to
350 or more.
I'm gonna take lighting up the Chiefs. I am. I'm gonna take. I don't know if that's necessarily gonna translate to winning the football game. I think there's a chance that Mahomes and company could light up the Bengals defense too. But man, the Chiefs love to play man-to-man. The Bengals offense does everything. To me, they're one of the more fun watchers in all of football. I mean, they got it all. They really do. They've done a great job, in my opinion, over the last year of changing who they are. Last year we were complaining a little bit about the Chiefs' offense, the Bengals' offense. It's shotgun. It's always empty formation, and he was taking too many hits. Now they do everything. They really do, and that speaks to what you talked about. Burrow he understands NFL football and has learned the game as quick as anybody we've seen. But, man, the Bengals' weapons are real. The Chiefs like to crowd the line of scrimmage and play man-to-man. Listen, get your popcorn, because that's what I'm excited to see. This dude right here is a star, T. Higgins. And we already know Jamar Chase was a star. And then you got Boyd in the middle, working the middle of the field and doing things as well. They pose a lot of problems for you. They do. If you're going to make me choose between those two, I'm going to say lights up the Chiefs.
The Kansas City Chiefs have 8 straight games holding the opposing quarterback at 250 or fewer. And, of course, they've won 8 games in a row. 21 takeaways by the Kansas City defense during that 8-game winning streak. What Steve Spagnuolo has done reminds me of 2007 with your Giants, when the defense, big difference, was abysmal the first couple of weeks, but they figured it out and they ultimately won the Super Bowl. I mean, these Chiefs, it's taken a while. They bottomed out, and maybe they had to bottom out in the aftermath of Super Bowl 55. But they're the juggernaut again, and here they are as the 1 seed, and I think it's going to be very difficult for the Bengals. And the Bengals have been up and down. See, the Chiefs were down, and they've been building and building and building ever since. With the Bengals, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up. And it seems like every time they start moving in the right direction, they get smacked down. So if they win this one, and I hate to say it because I remember feeling that way when they went to Baltimore earlier in the year. If they win this one, we're taking them seriously, and we did, and then they lost a couple in a row. So this is a huge test. And the Bengals win the division if they win this game, and this is the kind of game that will better prepare them for the playoffs. That was the response that Joe Burrow had for me on Sunday when I said, how do you deal with the fact that there isn't a whole lot of playoff experience, coaching staff, especially head coach, or on the actual roster? They got 2 guys that have played in playoff games for the Bengals, and it's the punter and the long snapper. No one else on the roster has played in a playoff game with the Cincinnati Bengals. And he said, these are the playoff games. Playing the Ravens, playing the Chiefs this week. These are the playoff games. So it's a huge test for them. I'm going to say that the Chiefs defense is going to keep him.
You're going to say
if 350 is the number, he's going to keep him under 350 this week.
All right. I mean, 350 is a lot. 350 is a lot. I mean, that's a big number. I don't know. I mean,
300.
300 is kind of what I was thinking, around that range. I mean, that's where I was thinking. One thing
I
I'll
still say under.
Yeah, you still say under. It's going to be interesting. To me, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The one thing I'll say about Cincinnati, and you're right, every time we kind of got ready to jump on, they had that loss to the Chargers and the 49ers. The one thing I took away from both of those games is to go, certainly weren't outclassed. No way. Messed some things up. I mean, yes, that was really the issue. 49ers, they dropped 2 punts. Remember the Chargers game, some dumb turnovers early in the football game that, hey, cost them. But then there they were driving to take the lead at 24-22, and Mixon fumbled, and they returned it for a touchdown. So, again, not all losses are created equal. There's losses where you go, whoa, that team got physically dominated, and yeah, they made mistakes, but they were getting physically dominated. For the most part, the losses for this football team on the year, I kind of look at and go, man, they messed some things up that really they messed up. I'm not going to give a ton of credit to the other team for, whoa, Jamar Chase was wide open down the sideline and going to run for a 70-yard touchdown, and he just didn't catch the ball and bobbled it up in the air and it got intercepted. So that's where it'll be fun to watch this week. I'm really excited for this matchup.
An amazing run for the Bengals, though, dating back to Week 6. 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins, and the most recent win over the Baltimore Ravens. They host the Rams this weekend. This is the extra game for the Ravens and the Rams. They met a couple of years ago as part of the normal rotation, and the Ravens obliterated the Rams on Monday Night Football.
Right.
That was when everyone finally took very seriously Lamar Jackson as the MVP of the National Football League. So what's more likely in this one? Matthew Stafford, who had been a candidate for MVP, he had 3 interceptions on Sunday against the Vikings. Does he pulverize a depleted Ravens defense, or do the Rams end up sweating out a close one, whether they win or lose against the Ravens?
I'm going to say Stafford scares me. Let me qualify it with this. I broke this down on my podcast a little bit yesterday, on our Wednesday What the Bleep Happened podcast. I mean, stuff like this is just constant. To me, again, the Rams have turned the corner as far as some of the questions we had about them, maybe a month or 6 weeks ago. I look at them now and go, wait, running game's working. Check. Defense has played pretty well, as of late. They figured out that side of the ball and how they want to play and what they want to do. Special teams are good. Odell Beckham Jr. is playing at a high level. And you know me, I'm a Matthew Stafford fan and lover. But I don't know. We talked about it a little on Tuesday. Maybe, having the expectations and the bullseye on your back a little bit more, it's different for him. He's getting used to it. He's the million-dollar question for the Rams right now. He is. It's just shaky week after week. Seattle Seahawks game 2 weeks ago, shaky. I mean, there was some shaky moments. Horrible interception when they had control of the game, and then the game wasn't in control, and they barely won the damn thing. Had to have 2 referees call bad calls to help them out. So that's where I'm scared for him a little bit. I am. But with the Ravens, their current state, some of the other things they're going to do, I'm going to bet that Stafford bounces back from last week and plays good football this week. So I'm going to say he tears them up. I'm going to take that option. Sorry to talk so long, but I just felt like I had to say some of that stuff.
I think you're right, and part of it is the Ravens' defense is so depleted. And also, if the offense is struggling to make things happen, that puts more pressure on the defense. Yeah. The defense will be on the field more often, more opportunities for the Rams. And, Cooper Kupp, the guy who is now the MVP candidate, it's going to take a lot for him to get enough votes to even be close to Aaron Rodgers. He's on pace, sort of, almost, just about. He's on pace to set the single-season receiving record, just under the pace for the yardage record. I think the Rams are going to try to get both for him, and they need to continue to assert themselves. And I think for Stafford, bad taste in his mouth after the 3-interception game against Minnesota, and this is an opportunity. And there's going to be some guys on that team that remember getting the crap kicked out of them 2 years ago on that Monday night, and they're going to want to even it out a little bit. Whether we see Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley or whoever at quarterback, guys like Aaron Donald are going to remember how it felt that night, and this is their chance to rectify a little bit. All right, what's more likely? The 49ers, who host the Texans, or the Eagles, who travel to Washington, stumbling as we get into this cluster in the NFC for the final 2 wildcard spots?
So what are we asking there? Just the 49ers?
Who's more likely to stumble?
If I'm going to pick one to stumble there, I'm going to pick Philadelphia. I am. And I don't feel like totally I don't expect either one of these teams to stumble. I don't. And Washington, of course, is heading in the wrong direction. But if I'm going to choose one, I'm going to take them right now. I am. Again, last week, hey, it was a good, comfortable win, against the Giants. The game was 3-3 at halftime. Jalen Hurts was borderline, not borderline. He was really not good in the first half. I mean, really not good. Borderline horrible. Then they kind of got it going in the second half. So that scares me a little bit. I just, again, I guess I'm a little biased. I just look at the 49ers and just think they're too talented to stub their toe on both sides of the ball here. I really do. We'll see with the Jimmy G situation and where he is with his thumb. But, man, I mean, there's even a part of me with even if it's Trey Lance, I think Shanahan's going to have good enough of a game plan to where I don't see them, falling or messing this up against the Houston Texans.
Jalen Hurts was limited yesterday with that lingering ankle injury. Obviously, he played through it on Sunday against the Giants. But you're right, it was a close game until it wasn't. But it was a close game for a long time.
Longer than it should
with
be.
The 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo's got that thumb injury, and he said all the right things yesterday about being able to play, and then he proceeded to not practice
right.
for the 49ers. But the Texans scare me, the gang that couldn't tank straight. And Nick Caserio was on radio in Houston yesterday talking about how they're just trying to win football games and they'll worry about draft position later. That reflects such a fundamental misunderstanding. And maybe he's just saying what he has to say because the NFL prefers that coaches and general managers and owners not point out the obvious connection between sinking late in the regular season when you're not going to make it to the playoffs and rising. We know what those higher spots are worth. We know what the value of 3 versus 6 is. Look at what the Jets gave up to get Sam Darnold in 2018. They moved from 6 to 3. They gave up a bunch of stuff for those 3 spots. There's value in having a higher spot, and the Texans are losing that value. They're making it harder for themselves in every round to get dibs on the best players for 2022. And I don't know that there's a correlation, enough of a correlation between one year's version of a team and the next year's to justify saying we're going to try to just win as many games as we can. I mean, they got 30 new players next year. Who cares that you won 4 out of 5 games to finish the season?
Yeah,
it's better to have the high draft picks.
I think it's a healthy conversation. I do. I don't think it's as clean cut as that. I don't. I will push back with you there. Again, we talk about the draft, and you talk about the draft all the time. You say it's a crapshoot. I mean, it's a crapshoot. Hey, there's Michael Parsons, clearly the best player in the draft on the defensive side of the ball. He's there at pick number 11. So, again, that's where I think we can't get too obsessed with that. It's hard to predict what idiots in front of you will do sometimes. Sometimes they'll just leave the best players on the board.
Still always better to be higher. Still always better to be higher. It's always better to be higher.
But so here, let's just talk about this for a second. The flip side, too, though, is there is something to winning some football games and giving your organization and the players that are on your roster some belief in your coaching staff going into the next year. There is that. Because, if you don't have that and you just flail down the stretch, right, as soon as things start to get bumpy next year, first off, everyone, the coaches, the media, everybody just starts to go, oh, well, they're horrible. They're not good. Nobody's going to give them the benefit of the doubt for tanking the year before. Everybody's going to go, they lost 7 straight at the end of the year. These guys are a bunch of idiots. So that's where it's not fair. That's where it's not fair. And there is something, I think, to giving your locker room a little bit of belief in that coaching staff and the organization, too, to go, oh, wait, we started out the year 1-2, but, man, last year this coaching staff, they got it together, and, we started to play some better football. I got faith in them that they'll get it right. I think there's a little more there to it than, maybe some people would make it be.
It just depends on how much turnover there is, because there was so much turnover from last year to this year.
No doubt.
And a lost season is a lost season. And I just, back when your dad was playing, when a team finished hot, even if they didn't make the playoffs, you could count on that to carry over. Yeah. I just don't think that applies this year when the team changes so much from year to year.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.